Man, I can't believe it's been 31 years since the first Toy Story movie. Man, we've come a long way. Hi, what's up, everybody? So today I'm revisiting the first Toy Story movie. I did a review of the fifth one not too long ago, and since then I went back and watched all the subsequent, the previous ones because I never really got into it like that. But I enjoyed myself so much with the fifth one. I said to myself, all right, let's give the previous four a chance, and then let's talk about it. And man, I really did enjoy myself again. Now, of course, you have the technological differences, because you can see the huge difference in technology of computer animation between the first one and the second one. And that was just 4 years. Now, 31 years, it's quite impressive what they were able to accomplish. But what you can definitely see from Jump Street in the first one is just a very, very strong formula and character evolution. Formula for the story and the character evolution. It's rock solid, from the get go. And, yes, it's Tom Hanks in his first appearance as Woody and Tim Allen with his first appearance as Buzz Lightyear. And to see them as butting heads as toys, if for me who never saw it, who never really got into any of them, and then seeing the fifth one, it was just really, really funny to see them not really liking each other, even though it's mostly Woody's fault in this one. And it's also really nice to see how they did the dichotomy, the juxtaposition of a really nice and loving and caring boy that just really does his best to take care of his family, his toys, because they're like his family in a way. And then you have his neighbor, Sid, who just completely tortures his toys. And then it really kind of sets up, what that final moment is that solidifies the friendship between Woody and Buzz. And so I'll just kind of breeze through the plot. Basically, it's Andy's birthday. All the toys are a little bit anxious about it. And even though Woody is, the top toy, the favorite toy of Andy, there's always going to be that trepidation of when the next new toy comes around, is that toy going to usurp Woody? And this time the new toy is Buzz Lightyear. And so the other toys are fascinated by what this new toy can do and what he looks like and what he sounds like. And Woody's just kind of salty, thinking he is going to be replaced. And so as the story unfolds, you see like how Woody just really tries to take care of the other toys, and Buzz has no idea that he is one to begin with. And through a series of circumstances, Buzz and Woody end up at Sid's house. And so they have to escape that imminent danger that exists. And then you see what Sid has done to his own toys that just really horrify Andy's toys. And so what he's trying to explain to him, all right, here's the deal, here's how we operate. And Buzz still thinks that he's a real astronaut, to that, you have that iconic moment at this point where Woody just yells at him saying, "You are a toy." And Buzz still doesn't get it until they're at Sid's house, and then he, by a series of circumstances, sees the commercial that is advertising for Buzz Lightyear toys. And now and I watched this for the first time because my son is 5 years old now, and he's got a whole bunch of toys, and we're always trying to encourage him to treat his toys properly, so they don't break and he can't play with them anymore. And this movie really kind of helped inadvertently, because now it's like, he doesn't want to be like Sid. He wants to be like Andy. So the way that he interacts with the toys is completely different now. And it's just really endearing to watch. So it had like this kind of unexpected utility and value to it, aside from just that, it kind of flies under the radar, that theme of the toys being of service to the child that owns them. We got to make sure that we are, there for them in their time of need, and show them love and affection just by our presence. And that's a theme that pops up in every single one of the subsequent movies. But you can see how it's like it starts to establish itself in the first one. And it's a way that I'm sure myself, like any other child that grew up before Toy Story came out, it's like, ooh, imagine if our toys came alive. How would they behave? How would they interact with each other? And to kind of finally see that realized on screen in this really impressive way. Even now, it has its level of impressiveness, even though it has been 31 years, and you see, the evolution of computer animation technology. It's still pretty awesome what they were able to do back in 1995, and they just keep getting better and better and better. So if you haven't seen it in a long time, go back and watch it. I'm not sure it's gonna, tug at your heartstrings the way some of the other ones did, but it's definitely a fun time, and you kind of get in touch with that inner child of yours one more time. Anyways, those are my thoughts. What about you guys? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.